Breaking now, Canada is overtaking the United States in the travel trade war. Welcome to CAN a Day. Next.
Experts say billions in tourism dollars are shifting from the United States to Canada.
Breaking tonight, America's tourism industry is facing a dramatic downturn. Canada didn't wait, they capitalized. Tensions are exploding across North American borders right now. Trump launched his trade war expecting economic dominance. But instead of Canadian submission, Ottawa triggered a tourism revolution. While American hotels and border towns report significantly weaker bookings and falling revenues, Canadian tourism just recorded the most profitable summer in the nation's history, $5.7 billion. The U.S. Travel Association projects that's what America's losing, while Canada gained $3.3 billion. This isn't just market fluctuation. This looks like the start of a deeper economic realignment. Everyone believed Trump's tariffs would crush Canada into compliance. Wall Street expected Canadian capitulation within weeks. Tourism analysts assumed Americans would keep traveling regardless of politics. They were all utterly incorrect. Dear viewers, between February and October 2025, something extraordinary happened in North American tourism dynamics. Trump pushed too hard. Canada said no, and travelers worldwide, sophisticated and values-driven, became the force that punished America's aggressive posturing while rewarding Canada's steady diplomacy. This isn't just about one bad tourism season. This is about the fundamental collapse of economic intimidation as a strategy and the rise of international perception as the new currency of competitive advantage. Washington, D.C., late January 2025. The Trump administration takes office with aggressive trade rhetoric, tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, threats to designate Canada as the 51st state, heightened border security protocols that transform routine crossings into interrogation experiences. The strategy was obvious: economic pressure until Ottawa capitulates to American demands. But here's what Trump's team completely miscalculated. Tourism isn't manufacturing. Tourism is emotion. Tourism is perception. Tourism is the industry where political climate matters more than price points, where national dignity outweighs discount flights, where one viral video of aggressive border enforcement destroys years of destination marketing. Wayne Smith, director of the Institute for Hospitality and Tourism Management at Toronto Metropolitan University, described it perfectly. Because they're putting up increasing barriers, it makes it increasingly challenging to go to the U.S. So you start to look for alternatives, and Canada is a reasonable alternative. In this case, Canada benefited tremendously. Translation: Trump just weaponized his own tourism industry against himself. Let's examine the devastation Trump's approach created. Between February and October 2025, Canadian return trips to the U.S. declined by 21% for air travel. Air travel, the convenient, comfortable option that middle-class Canadians traditionally chose for Florida vacations and New York shopping trips, gone. But wait, it gets worse for America. Land travel, the lifeblood of border communities, collapsed by 33.5%. One-third of Canadian cross-border traffic simply vanished. Bellingham, Washington, Plattsburgh, New York, Detroit, Michigan. Every American border town watching their economy implode in real time. The U.S. Travel Association now projects a 3.2% decline in international tourism spending for 2025, roughly a $5.7 billion loss compared to 2024. And here's the critical detail that exposes Trump's complete strategic failure. Canadians traditionally represent 28% of America's 72.4 million international visitors, the largest single group, the most reliable spenders, the travelers who cross the border for weekend trips, seasonal shopping, and routine vacations. Trump didn't just lose market share. He alienated his most valuable customer base. Lori Trotman, director of the Border Policy Research Institute at Western Washington University, captured the human cost. We're getting decimated, our border communities in particular, by the lack of Canadian tourism. Many of those businesses got back on their feet after COVID, and now they've been knocked off their feet again, so it's an incredible cost. According to a late October poll by the Angus Reid Institute, of 1,607 Canadians surveyed, 77% said they now view the U.S. more negatively as a travel destination this year compared to previous years, 77%. That's not market preference. That's national consensus. The top reasons? A resolve to stand up for Canada in response to the trade war, concerns about America's political climate, anxiety about border security, These aren't tourists worried about hotel prices. These are citizens making values-based decisions about where their money supports their principles, and Trump's administration gave them plenty of reasons to stay away. Stricter entry rules for Canadian visitors. The recent detainment of several foreigners at the U.S. border making international headlines. Dramatic video footage showing ICE arrests that circulated globally, creating the perception that America treats visitors as suspects rather than guests. Smith explained the fundamental problem Trump created. Tourism is very much a safety-based industry. Canadians aren't sure when they cross the border if they have to carry around their passport because of ICE. Add in some of the political components to it, and the U.S. looks like a destination that people are going to veer away from. When your border security theater makes your own neighbors feel unsafe, you've lost the tourism battle before it even started. While America hemorrhaged visitors, Canada executed what might be the most profitable summer in Canadian tourism history. Destination Canada estimates year-over-year total tourism revenue for May to August increased by $3.3 billion, 6% growth, during a trade war, during economic uncertainty, during the exact period when Trump expected Canadian economic submission. Part of that surge came from domestic tourism, which spiked by 7%. Canadians who would have spent vacation dollars in Florida or California instead explored the Canadian Rockies, Maritime provinces, and Quebec's cultural destinations. Smith described the psychology perfectly. You got a lot of people looking at the U.S. and thinking, I can stay in Canada and make a really positive contribution to Canadian society. You had a perfect sort of storm to make domestic tourism really rise and powerfully in Canada this year. The Angus Reid poll quantified this patriotic redirection. Of Canadians who changed their U.S. travel plans, 44% opted to travel within their own province. Another 30% chose different Canadian provinces. That's 74% of displaced American tourism dollars staying inside Canada's economy. This is economic nationalism at its most sophisticated. Not government-mandated, not policy-driven, entirely organic citizen behavior that rewards Canadian businesses while punishing American overreach. But here's where Canada's victory becomes truly remarkable. While fewer Americans visited Canada this summer, creating a modest 1.7% decline in American tourism spending, overseas visitors filled that gap and then some. Overseas visitors to Canada between May and August climbed by 2.4%. More importantly, their spending soared by 10.4%. An online survey of 1,560 people in the UK, France, and Germany revealed why. Just over half, 52%, said they were more likely to visit Canada due to the current political climate in the US. On top of that, more than 90% viewed Canada as a friendly and safe place to visit. The survey was conducted shortly after several Germans and a Welsh backpacker were detained at the US border, and Trump threatened Europe with sweeping tariffs. European travelers saw America's aggressive posturing, compared it to Canada's diplomatic stability, and made their choice. William Shatton, co-founder of Context Research Group, explained Canada's accidental advantage. We are tangentially benefiting from that kind of political climate right now that's happening in the U.S. Canada is seen right now as a top-of-mind destination for Europeans because there's a sense of safety and security and being friendly. Canada didn't launch aggressive marketing campaigns. Canada didn't slash prices or offer desperate incentives. Canada simply maintained its reputation as a welcoming, stable, civilized destination, while America's political chaos did Canada's marketing for them. If you're someone who follows how international perception shapes economic outcomes, this tourism shift reveals everything you need to know about soft power in the 21st century. Trump's administration believed economic coercion through tariffs would force Canadian compliance. They completely missed how those same aggressive tactics would poison America's tourism brand. The pattern was identical across every international market. Travelers would see Trump's tariff threats, witness aggressive border enforcement, observe political instability, and ask themselves a simple question: why would I spend my vacation money in a country that treats visitors with hostility? The answer increasingly was Canada offers everything America does, but without the drama. This wasn't about tourism infrastructure. Both countries have world-class destinations. This wasn't about price competition. Both countries offer comparable value. This was entirely about perception, dignity, and the basic human desire to feel welcome when you travel. The U.S. Travel Association predicts international travel will rebound in 2026, driven by FIFA World Cup, soccer games, and America's 250th anniversary celebrations. But here's the problem. Trump created that won't disappear with special events. The administration plans to implement a $250 visa integrity fee for visitors who need non-immigrant visas. Canadian citizens will be exempt, but Mexican citizens, one of the largest groups of visitors to the U.S., will be among those who have to pay this fee. U.S. Travel Association President Jeff Freeman called it what it is. Raising fees on lawful international visitors amounts to a self-imposed tariff. These fees do nothing but discourage visitation at a time when foreign travelers are already concerned about the welcome experience and high prices. Meanwhile, Canada is also hosting FIFA World Cup games in 2026, which could deliver another tourism surge without implementing punitive fees or aggressive border policies that make visitors feel unwelcome. This tourism victory reveals something profound about Canada's strategic position in North American relations. Trump launched his trade war expecting economic leverage would force Canadian submission. Instead, Canadian citizens responded with organic economic nationalism that redirected billions in tourism spending away from American businesses. International travelers, watching Trump's aggressive posturing, chose Canada's stability over America's chaos. And Canadian tourism infrastructure, professional and patient, captured revenue that American border towns desperately needed. The Trump administration believed strength meant aggression. They're learning painfully that aggression in tourism economics means weaker hotel bookings, struggling restaurants, and border communities watching their revenues decline while Canada records record-breaking summers. This is the new reality of North American economic competition. Soft power matters. International perception drives spending decisions, and Canada, simply by maintaining its reputation as a welcoming, stable, civilized nation, is winning battles Trump didn't even know he was fighting. Look, everything I've shown you tonight comes from public data and official reporting, but the conclusions, those are mine. You decide what it means. From Canada Next, where we break down the geopolitical moves that reshape North American power,